Again, I have opened the index file from last class, and so what I'm going to do is save it a new file. To save a new file, I'm going to go under File. Oops, I'm in the wrong file. Save as. I mean, same code. It's the same code. I'm just going to make a duplicate of it. File, save as, and let's call this one Pictures. 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 And I'm going to hit save. So now I have two HTML files that have the exact code, exact same code. Do you see them up here? I have index and pictures. So again, just using the save as, I saved the same file with a different name. Next, I'm going to remove the stuff from last class. So I'm going to go down here. I'm in pictures. See how I'm in pictures? I'm going to keep the same layout. I'm just going to remove some of the data. I don't want this iframe. I'm going to get rid of that. We don't need Yahoo anymore. I'm going to get rid of this whole div thing. I'm going to get rid of all this here and get rid of stud finders. I'm going to get rid of all that. Boom. And I'm going to get rid of all the iframe stuff here. Boom. So I got rid of everything except make sure you don't delete the divs. Remember, if you click on the divs, you can see which one. I got a div for right box, a div for left box, a div for header, and a div for container. So get to that point and we'll get started. Right here, I'm going to put my picture, my leaves with an S. So I don't remember how big the box is. Let's look at the CSS. How big is the left box? Do you remember we measured that? It is 450 pixels wide. Okay, so if we go back to the code here, I'm going to do a caret, a chevron. So to put an image on the screen, we use IMG. So first you put a chevron, then you put IMG for image, space, and then you need to designate the path to the image. We use SRC for source. Then we put an equal in there, and then we put a quote in there, and then we put the name of the image, which was leaves, right? LEAVES .jpg. Make sure you put the JPEG in there. Then after the quote is when we designate the size. So I'm going to make the size width, width equals, what was the width, 450 was it? px. No space. And then closing chevron. Don't worry about height. If you put in just the width, it'll give you a ratio for the height. Right? So I don't even need to designate the height here. It'll put the picture in at 4. Oh, I gotta put quotes around that. Do I have to put quotes around the 450? I think so. I think I have to put quotes around here. I think so. No? Do I have to put quotes around in here? 450? Do I? I don't know. I don't know if I need to put quotes. It's been so long. I think so, though. Okay, so the alt attribute is very important because that's what the screen reader reads. So when remember we talked about people can't see the screen, it reads to them. Well, whenever it gets to an image, it'll read alt tag, which is basically you put words in the alt tag to describe what the picture is, so that it reads that. I didn't do that. That's okay. If you missed the alt tag, you can learn about. Just get the picture on. How about that? Did you see how I did the image? Here, let me preview and make sure it works. Let me preview. I'm going to save my file, and then I'm going to preview in Chrome, and there's my picture. Okay, so how did I do that again? Here's the code. Make sure that your picture is in the same spot as your HTML. Your picture needs to be in the same spot as your HTML, so make sure you put it in the same spot. And you should have an image on the screen. Yeah, you don't want the quotes around there. Yeah, give me that space. There you go, that's better. Save and trackpad. Did you get an image? Beautiful. I don't know, let me continue, I'll come back. I don't remember that. Okay, so here's a problem though. Watch what happens if I preview this and somebody has a small screen. Look, it doesn't really move. It doesn't do anything, right? And plus, well, this doesn't change size because it's stuck anyway. So usually I measure an image in percentages and not in pixels here because I want the screen to change according to the size of the screen. Just pointing it out. I don't have an example of that right now. Okay, let's do another image. This time, let's just make an image. So we're going to make an image inside of Photoshop. So if you go to Photoshop down here at the very bottom, you'll notice there's one right here. You should have a PS in your dock at the bottom. So let's make an image in Photoshop. To make an image in Photoshop, I'm just going to make one that's 100 pixels by 100 pixels. And it's going to be the circle. Remember I drew the circle on the screen? I talked about saving in different sizes, right? Or different formats, right? So let's just make a circle. So I'm going to go underneath File, New, inside of Photoshop, File, New. And I'm going to type in, over here where it says width and height, I'm going to type in 100 by 100 at 72. Remember we talked about that earlier, about putting 72 dpi on the screen. Now notice it says background right here is white. I'm going to change that to transparent. So again, all I'm in is File, New, inside of Photoshop. In the new window, you should have some options over here. In these options, I'm going to type in 100 by 100 at 72. RGB is the color space, but the background is transparent. Yes? I don't have a transparent, and then I hit OK. And it looks kind of small maybe on the screen, but you can zoom in. Whenever you're in Photoshop, if you look at the top up here where it says 100% right here, that if your magnification is 100%, that's the size it'll be on your website. So if yours is not, you can zoom in Command plus on the keyboard. Command minus zooms out. Command plus, Command minus, Command plus, Command minus, Command plus, Command minus, Command plus, Command minus, Command plus, and it makes you go crazy. Okay, everybody got a screen. Let's make a circle. To make a circle, I'm going to use an object. Notice down here at the very bottom in the toolbar, you'll see there's a square down there. You'll see I have a rectangle, round rectangle, and you hold your mouse down over top of that, and it'll give you different options. And if you notice here, there's one called the ellipse tool, which looks like a circle. Do you see that? Do you see that one? Click on that, and then this is the color it's going to be. So you can give it a color up here. Make sure it says shape right here. See how it says shape? Shape, and this is the inside the color of the shape. Shape, fill. To draw a circle, I'm going to put my cursor in the upper left corner, and I'm going to click and drag and make a circle and release my mouse. Okay, so again, there's a circle tool, there is a shape, and then a color for the shape, and draw a circle. We'll put this on our website. So just draw it on the screen by clicking and dragging across. You still have that. Okay, that's what we did last class. Okay, save all the different formats and then put it on the website so you can see. Okay, here we go. There's 3 formats we're going to save this circle in. JPEG, PNG, GIF. JPEG, PNG, GIF. Make sure you put it in the same folder with your HTML. Make sure you put it in the same folder. Here we go. File. First one is JPEG, save as. File, save as. Change the format down here from Photoshop to JPEG. Do you see it? And then put it in your folder here. Make sure it's in the same folder. And let's call this circle. C-I-R-C-L-E. Circle. So again, under File, Save As, change the format to JPEG. Make sure it's going in the same folder. Yours is in Documents, dude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure it goes to documents with your other stuff. Make sure it goes to documents. Circle and make sure it has the extension JPG. Save that. And it's going to ask you how much compression. You can adjust whatever you want to whatever you want and hit OK. So that's the first one, JPEG. Second one, PNG. Here we go. File, save as. Change the format to PNG. Same way. Make sure it's going in the same folder. And let's call this one Circle again. C-I-R-C-L-E. Circle. PNG. Save. Don't worry about this. Just hit save. Did you get that one? File. Save as. PNG. Last one. GIF. File. Save as. Change it to GIF. Uh-oh. There's no GIF in here. Where is the GIF? Oh, that is a problem. Okay, the reason why there's no GIF is that it only makes the GIF if you do the export. So hit cancel. How you're going to make a GIF for this is if you go under File, Export, Export As. File, Export, Export As. In the Export As window, you can save it as a, over here where it says Format, you can save it as a, in the upper right corner, a GIF. A GIF. Oh, well, there's a SVG in there. You want to save it as SVG too? We'll try that too. See how it says GIF over here? Again, File, Export, Save As. I think it was Export As, right? Something like that. Export As, right? And you see that in the window in the very upper right corner, it says GIF. Let's export that. And let's give it, make sure you put it in the same folder. You might have to designate. Circle again. Circle again. Why is there a cancel there? I don't have a save. Export. Okay. Let's try the SVG. We did talk about that. Remember the vector one at the bottom there? Let's try SVG again. Same circle. File. Export. Export as. This time let's change it to SVG. SVG was a vector file. And then hit export all. And make sure it goes in the same folder. And let's call that one Circle. C-I-R-C-L-E. Now I can name them all the same because they all have different extensions. If you notice there you have a JPEG, a PNG, a GIF, and then we're going to say SVG. And say export. Okay, so in this case, we have, let's look at it on there. We have, again, let me make big icons. We have, they all look the same. Oh, look at the SVG. Why is it so big like that? Don't know, but it doesn't matter. We have Circle, GIF, Circle, JPEG, Circle, PNG, Circle, SVG. Now the code is exactly the same. We just need to change the name of the file. So let's go back to the code. Let me finish this and I'll come and help you. If I come over here to my right box, remember we made a right box? I'm going to use the same code. I'm going to call it image. Oh, IMG. Oh, sorry. IMG SRC equals, and then in quotes, circle, C-I-R-C-L-E, dot JPG. We'll do them in order. And then what is the width? We did 100, right? WIDTH equals 100 PX. And then a closing chevron at the end. So the same code like that. Then if you want it to be underneath it, we're going to put a BR in there. A BR like that. What is a BR? That is a line break, so that the next circle goes underneath it. So again, the same code there is the same as we did with the leaves, but this one is a circle. So IMG space SRC equals, in quotes, the name of the file with the JPEG there. We gave it a width of 100 pixels. Then notice how I put a closing chevron and then a chevron with BR and a closing chevron there. Do you see that? What's that going to do is it's going to put the next circle underneath it. because if you don't designate a BR there, it'll put the next circle next to it, to the right of it. I want it underneath. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this load. So the copy on the computer is Command C. Command C for copy. Then I'm going to put my cursor at the end here after all this. I'm going to hit the return key and I'm going to hit Command V. And I'm going to do that again. Return Command V. Return Command V. Now I have 4 of them, right? I have 4 files. So the second one is what? A PNG. PNG. The third one is what? A GIF. GIF. And the fourth one is a SVG. SVG. So again, it's the same code of all 4 with just different extensions. And so let me look at it and then I'll come and help you. Again, it's all the same code with a BR at the end. So if we look at the code now and we preview it, you should have 3 circles, 4 circles. One, remember the JPEG doesn't have a transparent area. That's what it looks like. So usually I don't say that. The PNG looks really good. It has a nice soft edge to it, right? The GIF doesn't look good. The reason why is the GIF doesn't look good. We get rough, fuzzy edges because only 1 pixel can be transparent, and along the edge there's actually shades. We call this anti-aliasing. Is the edges are kind of blended, and since it blends to a transparent area, you get this white fuzzy edge. It's not very good. So the GIF, you have to, and then of course the last one's SVG, looks really good. So the ones I would use for a circle like this on my website would be a PNG or SVG. I wouldn't use a GIF or I wouldn't use a JPEG. Let me show you the code and I will come and help you. Let me pause my video here. So remember in the header up here, I'm going to click. I'm going to put in some text. I'm going to use H1 like that. So chevron, H1, chevron. What is H1? H1 is the largest text. H stands for header, or heading, I'm sorry, heading with an ing. And I called it H1 colon H1. So I'm going to put in some text. Let's put in some text. Some text. How about we just put in some text? Some text. Notice it automatically puts a closing header. So again, in the header option of the code that we made last class, I put in a chevron, H1, chevron, some text, chevron, / it automatically put that there. So if we preview this, let's save it and preview it, you're just going to get some ugly text up here. It's the default font is Times, right? Times. But wouldn't it be nice if we could make the font like kind of cool font? You know, there's cool fonts out there. Where can I find cool fonts? Well, no, that is a good spot, but that's where you get fonts for your computer. We want online fonts that we're going to use on our website, okay? So you can't use fonts that are in your computer because it's on the internet. So you have to use fonts that are on the internet and not on your computer. Yeah, you can't. That's at the font. You download a font, you install it in your computer, and you use it. But that's not online. You have to use a link to an online. That's not online because you're downloading it and putting it on your computer, right? Yeah. Okay, but the computer next to you doesn't have that font, so they're not going to see it. Okay, so you can't download a font and put it on your computer and use it on your website. You have to use an online font. Where do we find online fonts? Google. So if you go to font.google.com, font, I think, is it font, or fonts with an S, I'm sorry. Fonts, is it fonts? No, yeah, fonts with an S. So go to the internet, any browser, go to fonts, fonts.google.com. So you can take any of these fonts that you see here and put them on. Oh, this is a cool one. Let's use this one. So Silver Mist stuffed the deck of the ship. Whoosh. That sounds a little scary. Like you're gonna run into the mist. And the ship is no good. That's why we have lighthouses and you guys like that when you're at the beach, right? So say you love this and you want to put this font in your header. How do I do that? Well, Google makes it easy. What you do is you download the code, copy the code, and put it in your code, and that's it. So it's very easy. You can do this. I know you can do it. So did you go there? Fonts.google.com. Did you find it? Yes? Okay, go to the very, click on this one. Let me see, how do I click on it? C-Specs. C-Specs. How do I download? Oh, the plus, I'm sorry. Material design, I should know better, right? I should know better. Hit the plus, select this font. Okay. It comes up with a window at the bottom somewhere, doesn't it? You might have to scroll down. No. I hit the plus. Oh, scroll up. I haven't done this in a long time. How do I get my font? It's down here. I can see it. There's like a black thing at the very bottom. Do you see that? Let me see. If I click there, oh, there we go. There's like a little arrow. Do you see it down here? After you hit the plus, do you see this like little black window right here? You open that up. You'll notice there is a link right here. Do you see it? I'm going to copy that link right there. See that link right there? I'm going to copy, hit Command C. So I copy that link right there. And then I'm going to go to my code. And up here, look, there's a link to the CSS. Let's put it right after that. See the link up here where we had a link to the CSS right there? Do you see that? We're going to paste the font there. Boom. So again, right here where the CSS is, right underneath it, hit return right after that and paste that in there. Now, how do I get that to be onto this text though? Because this text it's not automatically taking it and putting it there. You actually have to designate the font into the header. Where is my header font? Where is the programming for the header? Well, the header is being programmed in the CSS right here. So it actually, if you go back to the web page, it actually gives you the code right here. So if you go back to the website inside of Google here, you can copy this code right here, this one that's right here. See where it says font family right here? Do you see it? I'm going to copy that font family right there, copy that, and I'm going to go back to my code, and not in the HTML. We need to put this in the CSS, and where do you think we put it? In the header. I'm going to go to where it says header right here, and I'm going to paste that in there. Boom. Now the text will actually have that font. So go ahead, header. Notice in the code, you'll see in the header, I wrote some text. See that right there? Then I made a link to the font on Google. Then in the CSS, I put the font, the code that they gave us right there in the header. And I'm going to save everything, save the CSS and the HTML. And if I preview it now, I should have that horrible font. Oh, look at it, made it look horrible. But you can see the font now. So you only need two things for an online font. You only need two things in two places. You only need one, which is in the HTML. So if we go to the HTML, we made a link to it. See how it says link href to the Google right there, just below where you made the link to the CSS, right in the same area up here, okay, in the head section. Then the second thing is you need to designate the font on this is an ID, right? This is a box. See, this is a box. So I told this box to use that font. How did I tell this box to use that font? In the CSS, I have a box that's called header right here. Remember, it has a width and a height It has a background color of pink, but it also now has a font. And if you save everything, you should then see that font there. So see if you can get a font to work. It's not that hard. Again, just go to fonts.google.com, choose the font you want, open up the window, copy this into your header section, copy this into your CSS, and boom, it'll work. So try that.